On the night of February 9, 2004, a young woman walked away from a car crash on a dark highway in New Hampshire. She was 21 years old, a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts, an athlete, an honors student, a daughter. She walked into the trees on the side of Route 112. And no one has seen her since. Her name was Maura Murray. And 20 years later, her disappearance remains one of the most haunting unsolved mysteries in modern American history. To understand what happened on that cold February night, you first had to understand who Maura Murray was. She grew up in Hanson, Massachusetts, the third of 5 children in a tight-knit, working-class family. Her father, Fred Murray, was a United States Army veteran who raised his kids with discipline, love, and high expectations. Maura met those expectations and then some. She ran track. She was fast, genuinely fast, good enough to earn an athletic scholarship. She was studying to become a nurse. By every measure visible to the outside world, Maura Murray had a bright future ahead of her. But in the weeks before she disappeared, something had shifted. There had been small incidents. A minor car accident near campus. A phone call home to her father that worried him. And then, just days before she vanished, Maura logged into her university computer and looked up directions to a vacation cabin in New Hampshire. She packed a bag. She emailed her professors to say she'd be away for a family emergency. She withdrew cash from her bank account. And then she drove north. Alone. It was around 7:30 in the evening, when Maura's Saturn sedan rounded a curve on Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire. The road was icy. The night was dark. And somewhere on that lonely stretch of highway, she lost control. The car struck a snowbank and came to a stop. The front end was damaged but drivable. A school bus driver named Butch Atwood happened to be passing by. He stopped. He saw a young woman standing near the car. He asked if she needed help. She told him she was fine. She said she had already called for help. She asked him not to call the police. Butch Atwood drove home, just a short distance up the road. He watched from his window and planned to call authorities if she was still there in a few minutes. When police arrived, they found the car. They found her belongings inside. They found an open bottle of wine. But Maura Murray was gone. What followed was one of the most baffling searches in New Hampshire history. Search teams combed the woods surrounding Route 112. Dogs were brought in. Volunteers searched in freezing temperatures. The area was remote, heavily forested, and cut through by the wild Ammonoosuc River. They found nothing. But as investigators dug deeper into Maura's life, the questions only multiplied. Her cell phone had made no calls after the crash. Her email account went silent. She had never reached her destination. And then, investigators discovered something unusual. In the days before she left campus, Maura had printed out directions to multiple locations in New Hampshire and Vermont. Not just one destination, several. She had also searched online for information about a condominium for rent on the ski slopes at Bartlett, New Hampshire. Was she running away? Was she heading somewhere specific? Was she meeting someone? Witnesses reported seeing a red or maroon pickup truck near the crash site shortly after Maura's accident. The truck was never identified. Its driver was never found. Over the following years, investigators, journalists, and thousands of amateur detectives online built elaborate theories about what happened to Maura Murray. Some believed she wandered into the woods and succumbed to the cold. Others believed someone picked her up, willingly or otherwise. A small number believed she planned to disappear. That somewhere, somehow, Maura Murray is still out there living under a different name. Her father, Fred Murray, spent years driving those roads himself. Putting up flyers, knocking on doors, refusing to stop looking. Because for a father, not knowing is its own kind of torment. 20 years have now passed since Maura Murray walked into those trees. In 2022, New Hampshire authorities conducted a major review of the case. They brought in new forensic experts. They re-interviewed witnesses. They revisited every piece of evidence. Their conclusion? They still do not know what happened to her. What investigators do believe is that Maura was going through something deeply personal in those final days. Something she hadn't shared with the people who loved her most. A podcast called Your Own Backyard and a television documentary series both brought renewed national attention to the case. Tips flooded in from across the country. Some were credible. None led to Maura. The red truck was never found. The driver was never identified. The woods along Route 112 have kept their secret for 2 decades. In 2020, Fred Murray passed away without ever finding out what happened to his daughter. Cases like Maura Murray's do something to us. They take hold of us because they remind us how suddenly and how completely a person can vanish from the world. She wasn't hiking in the wilderness. She wasn't in a dangerous neighborhood. She was on a public highway, in a car, with a witness watching from nearby. And still, she was gone. Whatever was troubling Maura in those final days, whatever drove her north on that February night, she deserved the chance to face it. To work through it. To come home. The Murray family continues to seek answers. Her case remains officially open. And somewhere in New England, the truth is still waiting to be found. That's the story of Maura Murray. A young woman, a dark road, and a question that 20 years of searching has not yet answered. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think Maura left on her own terms? Or do you believe something more sinister happened that night? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. Next week on Story Hour USA. The year is 1590. A governor returns to an island after 3 years away. He finds his colony completely empty. 117 people, gone. No bodies. No signs of struggle. No explanation. Just one word, carved into a tree. Next week, we tell you what that word was. And what happened to those 117 people? Subscribe to Story Hour USA. And stay with us.